Welcome to the Once Upon an Island podcast. I'm your host, Wesley, and of course, I'm joined by my co-host,
Mary.
And today we are talking about episode 5 of season 41. And Mary, I want you to know that in this podcast, I'm going to ask you one question, and you do not have the power to lie to me. So at random point in this podcast, I will ask you a question, and I will be using my advantage, and you cannot lie to me.
I need the paper.
The paper is it's in the mail. It's coming. It's in
But
tree
it doesn't
mail.
count yet.
It's in tree mail. It's coming. But yeah. So today we're talking about episode 5. Just a reminder, as always, that if you want to skip to a certain part of our podcast, I have chapter markers laid out. We will, of course, be breaking down the episode from start to finish. We will talk about what's going to happen in next week's episode because we actually got a big hint from a video from Jeff that you can find on survivorgwg.com. And I'm trying to think what else. Oh, yeah, obviously, Rebus Puzzle, winner's analysis, and the questions you guys all asked us on YouTube. So with that, I think right away, Mary, I want to hear what is next. What is this hint that Jeff has given us about next week? Because we're all baffled. We're like, no, is it a merge? Is it not a merge? So what did Jeff say?
Preview was really confusing. But if you go on and solve the Rebus puzzle and then solve the word scramble, you get a video from Jeff basically asking you what you would do if you had to send someone to Exile Island. And he says it, of course, ties into next week's episode. So obviously we are thinking there's some
That's all
type
he
of
said.
merge.
He didn't say anything more.
Well,
by chance?
the video was, who would you send to Exile Island? Would you send an ally or would you send an enemy? And kind of went through the points of if you send an ally so you can get information, or do you want to send an enemy so they're on the outs? And just talking about the strategy of that.
So it does. So even before you watch that video, I thought that because if you watch the next time on Survivor, I thought about that as a possibility. I didn't say that was going to happen. But I was thinking, like, if you pause the next time on Survivor right when it starts, you can see like this massive like dune mound, sand mound thing that looks like it's perfect for like all 12 of them to just like dive into and dig into. Kind of like what we've seen on The Amazing Race sometimes, where they dive into like a massive sand something for clues. It reminds me of that. And I was thinking like, okay, so it was like, since Jeff said it's not quite a merge, I mean, it is a merge because we're not swapping at 12. Is it possible that like only 11 of them get a buff and like the 12th person goes to like Exile Island or something and they're safe at this vote, but they'll come back into the game next episode? Or will it be multiple people? That's really the question.
That is the question.
Because Jeff's kind of confirmed the Exile Island thought, which is great. I mean, great for us to know, but it's like, how many people are going to go? Who knows?
Well, typically, how many are on a jury?
It depends on season to season. I mean, Winners at War had like 16 people on the jury. So there's no like hard set rule. It's never been less than 7. But I would say outside of like an Edge of Extinction season, we've never seen more than like 10. Maybe 11, but I think 10 is the most on a non-Edge of Extinction season. Okay. And so if we have a final 3, we have a jury of 9 right now, which is totally fits within what we've seen in the past.
Mm-hmm. So I don't know. I just can't imagine them sending more than one person, but
I mean, anyone who goes to exile is still going to be on the jury. They're going to come back into the game.
Right. That's what I was thinking. Well, would they all be on the jury at this point? But yeah, you're right.
I think everyone here can make the jury. It would be a twist for Survivor to be like, well, you made the merge, but you're not making the jury, which is what they used to do in like old seasons, like the first, I don't know, 8, 9, 10. I forgot exactly when they stopped that, but it was definitely in the first 10 seasons. And yeah, so
very interesting.
Who knows? But next week, it sounds like we're getting Exile Island returning in some shape or form. And I'm guessing it's going to have to do with the merge. Okay, so that is next time on Survivor. But let's talk about this week on Survivor.
Yeah.
So this episode starts with ooh-ah. And let me tell you, I couldn't have been more disinterested. I was like, anybody else but ooh-ah. Like, it's been so much ooh-ah the past like 3 weeks. I'm like kind of over ooh-ah at the moment. But anyways, Jeannie said she felt good. But she's like, I'm going to go find the beware advantage. And then she does. And then she tells Chantel and Ricard, what did you think about this?
It was just so dumb and disappointing. I know she was on the bottom. She didn't have to tell them she was looking for it. She didn't have to tell them that she got it. I don't know. I was just frustrated with Jeannie. Like, why would you do that? It literally cost her the game because she could have had the idol. She could have kept it. She could have played it for herself.
I do think she's in a precarious position with it, though, because she finds it and she knows it's the one where you have to say something at the challenge. And if everyone doesn't know what the heck's going on at this point, then they're really out of the loop.
Right, but she has to know she's on the bottom. So
Sure.
either go out tonight with no vote or have an idol. Like, her vote wouldn't matter anyways.
Yeah. Oh, but then you could also consider that, and I think you make a good point that's based on what we know in terms of what happens at the end of the episode, obviously the best decision in retrospect would have been that. But at the moment was Jeannie thinking, oh, they voted out JD instead of voting out me. Is it possible that I'm in closer than... Because she's in closer than JD, which is saying something considering what we saw.
Obviously, she thought that.
Yeah.
Because she didn't even use her shot in the dark.
Crazy.
Right.
That I think is crazy.
But I don't know. To me, it's just like Survivor 101. You find an advantage, you use it, and you don't tell anyone.
Or in this case, in case the beware advantage, if you're like, I'm not going to use this, I wouldn't even tell Chantel and Ricard. I would leave it be. I wouldn't touch it.
Yeah. I
wouldn't tell them about it. Because the fact of the matter is that it's the one where if we got to the challenge and Chantel or Ricard says the line, which by the way they do, but they tricked her into being like, we're just going to say it, see what happens. But had she found it, left it be, not told them, and then they said that the challenge, she would have known, oh, they found it.
Yeah.
Not that helps her at all.
No.
Knowledge is power, but as we learn later, knowledge is power advantage. But yeah, I don't know. Chantel definitely seemed like she's heading it, but Ricard's almost like the brains where Ricard's like, let's plan a fake idol to trick Jeannie when we put it back. And it's like...
And he was the one that suggested saying it, I think, at the challenge. They are a good team. I mean, he does do a lot of the thinking, I think, from what we've seen. But at the same time, anything that Shan wants, Shan usually gets. Like, whatever way Shan wants to vote, whatever
I think Ricard's gonna
decision.
Get rid of Shan.
Oh, Ricard I don't know, because Shan has backstabbed like everyone she's ever worked with. So,
and she was we don't know what she would have done had she gotten back the extra vote from Ricard. Like, would she have backstabbed him? I don't think so, but Who knows, man? Who knows? That's the thing. And Ricard was smart. I know I'm jumping way ahead there, but Ricard was smart to not give it to her. And I almost feel like they're both the brains, but it's almost like Shan's the face of the alliance. And the face is the one that gets all the heat.
Yeah.
So we're about to merge. We'll see how these two work together because I think there's some twists this episode.
We know that Shan gets along better with people than Ricard. Like, Shan makes friends easier.
Yeah.
And maintains relationships better than Ricard.
I mean, we haven't seen anybody get mad at Ricard yet. Jeannie did say this episode that she doesn't really like Ricard, which I think is very telling. Or she doesn't trust him. It was one or the other. She doesn't like him. She doesn't trust him. It was one or the other. Because she does end up picking at Tribal to vote with Chantel for Ricard.
Yeah.
And if Jeannie was still in the game, Ricard would take that very personally, as we have learned. So yeah, no, I'm not saying that. What's up?
No, we just forgot that while Shan was talking about leaving the idol or taking the idol or whatever, they start playing her theme. Yeah. They start playing her theme. Didn't even need a preamble this time. And we all know it's Shan's evil theme.
Yeah. You know what? And maybe it's perfect. I'm gonna leave it at that. Like,
I just liked it.
Them using it and them not explaining it was great.
Yeah.
That's what
I liked it.
Okay, so then that's pretty much what we see with the opening with the Green Tribe. And then we moved over to Luvu, a Love You, or however you want to say it. And I was like, oh, thank goodness it's not the Green Tribe. And we see Sydney catching some fish, being the next Ozzy or Rupert. She said she speared 9.
I thought she said 10.
She said she speared 9. Oh, well, she got 10, then even better. I thought she said she speared 9. 9 or 10, who cares?
That's
more than everyone on the tribe. That's great.
Yeah. No, that was really cool.
And then, interestingly enough, we cut immediately from that to Danny and Deshaun saying, hey, should we throw this challenge at Erica? And then Naseer comes along. He's like, no, that's a terrible idea. I hate when people do that in the show. And I stan Naseer for for saying this.
You stand Naseer.
I stand Naseer. Do you not know what that means? No. Oh, I'll explain to you after the podcast. I stand Naseer. I'm a big fan of Naseer. Let's put it that way.
No, I like that scene too. I thought it was good. And I thought it was so cute afterwards when he's like, yes, Danny and Deshaun want to work with me now. I'm finally in with someone, basically.
Naseer's like the happy-go-lucky guy.
Poor Naseer. No one's been strategizing with him yet. Well, I feel like Danny and Deshaun were just like, okay, if we're going to throw this, we have to let at least somebody else know because we can't throw it by ourselves.
Well, clearly, because last time Naseer totally stopped them from throwing it. They're like, we have to get him in if we're going to do it.
And he's not going to do it. So, obviously didn't work.
This episode, though, if they really had wanted to throw it, when they got to the immunity challenge, they could have sat Naseer. They could have done Danny, Deshaun, and you put like Sydney, like they already had Sydney in there, so you just put in Danny, Deshaun, and Sydney.
Yeah. And
then Danny and Deshaun could just keep purposely missing it. And heck, maybe they'll get a slow-mo shot of them missing it like Ricard did. You know, you never know when that slow-mo will kick in. But I thought that was interesting. That's all we really get from the Blue Tribe. Mm-hmm. So nothing from Erica, nothing from Heather. A little disappointing in terms of winner analysis stuff, but we'll get there. We'll get there. So then we cut over to the Yellow Tribe. We see Evie and Xander talk. And basically, it kind of reminds me, have you ever seen the meme where it's like these three guys sitting like one after another in like, it looks like in pews at a church. And then there's a sniper above all of them.
No.
Okay, well, I need to show you that meme too. People probably know I'm talking about on the podcast. It's a pretty popular one. Anyways, Evie is, all right, for people who know what I'm talking about, Xander's in the front, Evie's behind him, and then Tiffany's the sniper up on the up on top. That's because Evie's like, ha ha ha, I'm tricking Xander into him thinking I'm his number one, or he's my number one. And Tiffany's like, ha ha ha, I don't trust either of them. And it's like, but we keep hearing from Tiffany, like, this is just, it's getting real sus. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
Tiffany has so much content, and I thought Tiffany was, I don't know, man. We'll get winner analysis section. We'll talk about this. What did you think about this whole scene?
I just, I don't know. I kind of thought it was a little bit unnecessary for Evie to be lying to Xander and doing her whole spiel.
There's a lot of unnecessary lines this episode.
I guess it just was like, to me, it'd be like a little bit too late. You know, Xander has to know he's on the bottom right now. And then all of a sudden, oh yeah, I just want to work with you. And I don't know. It just didn't make sense to me. Maybe it's just because we haven't seen that much.
Yeah.
Or I don't remember that much of the relationship. We really
haven't had much of Yellow since like episode 2, I feel like.
It just seemed out of place. And then Xander goes and tries to tell Tiffany about his advantage or idol or whatever and just kind of botches the whole thing. And I'm just Xander.
So I rewatched that again today because it's the day after the episode aired. And I'm watching it and I'm like, okay, first off, Tiffany never acknowledges, yes, I was told about Xander's advantage, but I just don't know how it works. She just acts like she has no...
Yeah, she acts like she doesn't even remember.
She acts like she's never heard of this. Like, did we not get a whole thing in the Voce episode of her, like, hearing about it but not understanding it? Like, that's fine. She just doesn't understand it still. I mean, it's a little crazy she doesn't still understand it. But, like, Liana had to explain it to her before she ever talks to Xander. Liana explains it to her. And Tiffany acts like, oh, I'm just now hearing about this for the first time. Like, getting all, like, really revved up.
Was
it
the second one?
Tiffany, you've known about this one. You've known. No, this is the three-way advantage that she was told about. Because in the Voce episode, Evie's like, yeah, but it doesn't work because nobody else in the Air Tribes has found it, Tiffany. And Tiffany's like, oh, but what if he still pulls out an idol and he plays it? We can't vote out Xander. And then like this episode, we're explaining the three-way idol again, 3 episodes later to Tiffany. It's like it's like she's just now getting it. I hope she got it. How are we just now getting it?
I did love all of her faces that she made.
Oh, she was rolling her eyes
right at the camera.
She was rolling her eyes so much. Anytime Xander was looking at her, she's going. I
can't believe Xander didn't catch it. I don't know. It was pretty funny.
She did it like 3 times, and if you catch it, every time it's when Xander's like looking in his bag.
Oh, I know.
Xander's like behind her. How would he ever catch it?
It was just like blatant.
Oh, it was so blatant. Yeah. And Xander's like, I hope she doesn't mind that I lied to her since she works with delinquents all day. And I'm like, isn't she a middle school teacher? So
same thing.
Mary, you've taught middle schoolers in the past as a teacher. Would you say they're all delinquents?
Of course not.
Oh, okay. That's the politically correct answer.
No, they really aren't. But it is a hard time of life.
It does make me wonder if maybe she's working at some sort of like behavioral school, which
It's possible.
if she did say that, I just forgot.
I
thought
think
she was
they
just a
said
middle school
anything
teacher.
Like that. They only say middle school. From what I remember,
Yeah,
I could
just
have missed
remember
it, I guess.
the middle school teacher part. So Xander, I hope Xander's not
just
assuming they're all delinquents. Unless Tiffany told me I teach middle school delinquents, and he's like, oh, okay. He just like took that face value. So, yeah, definitely a lot of Tiffany. Let's put it that way. A lot more than I've been expecting for sure. So then we move to the immunity challenge, where Chantel and Ricard drop the broccoli line. And then Ricard so obviously, like without question, sets up Xander. And Xander, like, why would Ricard even bring this? Like, just makes it so obvious to everybody.
Yeah.
First off, we already know all of Yellow knows. Obviously, all of Green knows. So the question really comes down to, does all of Blue know?
Well, they should know now, I would imagine.
How did they not? Yeah, it's like, how would they not? Because Xander gets set up and Xander, just takes it in stride. And just he's like, yeah, no, it wasn't ladybugs. It was dead butterflies or butterflies or just dead relatives saying hi. And then Jeff's like, you guys are crazy. He's like, okay, time for the challenge. And then Naseer goes,
yeah, Jeff, I'm as confused as goats on AstroTurf. I don't know. He did a good job, but he did mess it up a little bit.
He said it really slow as well.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm as confused as a goat on AstroTurf or something like that. Whereas like he said it slow enough where it's like it feels like he's reading off a script.
Yeah.
Like he's just he's reminding something.
I thought Jeff asked Naseer.
No.
I thought Jeff set him up.
Jeff said, let's go to the challenge. And Naseer's like, hang on, Jeff. I'm as confused as a goat on AstroTurf. And it was like the biggest blindside of the whole episode by far.
And again, I like that they did that though, because I mean, I don't know. It's like you didn't expect it. Because you're in the same boat as Shannon's Ricard. Like, did somebody find it or not? And you find out like the same time they do. And I thought that was cool.
This is a technique they've been experimenting with, I think, since season 37 to 38, where it's like we find out something and then we flash back to how they got it. And it's like cool because we're still in the loop on what's going on, but it's not. But it used to be like Survivor told everything very linearly. Linearly. You know what I mean? Very in a linear fashion is what I'm trying to say. So in older Survivor, like in the 10s and 20s and early 30s, we would have saw Naseer find it, and then we got into the challenge, and this would have happened. We'd be like, yep, we already knew this was coming. But in this case, they just blindside us. They're like, one day earlier, Naseer finds it, and Naseer's like, I'm so excited. He's like such an excited face. He's like, my little daughter will be so excited. And he's like, I told her you could do anything. And I'm over here paraphrasing what he's saying, but he's very excited. And it's like hard not to root for Naseer.
Yeah.
After last episode where he stops the throwing of the challenge accidentally, and then this episode.
Yeah.
As everyone says, that is Naseer.
It was fun.
That's what I think Naseer says that one episode where he goes, that is Naseer. So it's like he's getting more endearing with every episode. So I am rooting for Naseer. I like Naseer. So yeah, he's as confused as a goat on AstroTurf. Everyone finally says it right before the merge.
Yeah, but is it still gonna work next episode?
The idols work. If Naseer had not found it, everyone would not have their vote for the next tribal, in this case meaning Uwa, since they lose. So Chantel wouldn't be able to vote. It would just been Ricard and Jeannie, but Ricard had the extra vote.
Right.
So Ricard would have single-handedly decided who went home if Naseer had not found it, but he did. So everyone has their idol.
Okay.
And I'm just even more confused with what everyone has, but here we are. I think the only thing I'm clear on is who has the idols, because it's been like brought up in every episode over and over.
I just didn't know if the idols were still good after this merge, not merge.
Yeah, so they're just idols. They're regular idols now. Okay. Yeah. So we get to the challenge, and long story short, Yellow wins because of Xander slingshot. Well, Liana, I'll give Liana credit. She does the thing where it untwists the knots to get the key or whatever, and then Xander does the slingshot into the things, whatever, into the targets. I'm tripping. And then basically Naseer, our Naseer, wins it for the blue tribe. But Ricard is the only one to get slow motion. And it's like when he misses it, and it's like, what am I supposed to feel right here?
Sorrow, I guess, or empathy.
It's not either of those.
I don't know. It's just pretty pathetic is all I'm
That's
feeling.
the word I was thinking of. I'm like, the slow-mo actually makes me feel like he's pathetic. I'm not empathizing, which I think is what they're going for.
Probably.
I think they're going for.
I don't think they're trying to make fun of him.
Like, I'm not rooting for the green tribe. So to see this slow-mo, I'm not like, oh, is he going to get it? And then he misses it. I'm like, oh no, my life is ruined. I'm not rooting for the green tribe. I don't care.
Right. I didn't really want them to go back to tribal.
I mean, I want them to go tribal, but I wasn't like, oh man, I really can't wait till Ricard crushes this target challenge thing.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, interesting choice there.
Yeah, they clearly think we're more in on Ricard and Chantel and Jeannie than we actually are. Of course, it could just be you and I.
Could be.
I'm all in on Naseer right now, so they should have slow-mo Naseer hitting it. That would have gotten me
Yeah,
really
that would have
up.
been cool.
Yeah, that would have gotten me going. All right, so long story short, they so yellow and blue wins, and then Liana and Chantel get sent to Summit Island. For what is it? This is literally the 4th summit of the pre-merge.
Have they done 2 at the hill and 2 at the hut?
They've done this is the 3rd one at the hill, and they've done 1 at the hut. And to be fair, next week, if the Exile Island is anything like the rest of these, it's gonna be the 5th one. So we've only had like 1 episode without a summit, which was last week, the best episode so far.
True.
Yeah. Oh, and I didn't even ask you what your excitement level was going into this episode. What was it, 1 to 5?
I think it was more like a 4 this week because I last week was so good.
I asked everyone after this episode what their excitement was, and they said 4 after this episode got done airing. So,
right.
What was yours? Still a 4 after this episode aired?
It's dropped down a little bit.
It dropped down to a 3.
Maybe like a 3.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm done with green. I'm kind of over green.
Well, hopefully we can move on now.
Well, hopefully with the merge we can get more people talking than Chantel and Ricard. All right, so
speaking of which,
yeah, Liana and Chantel get to go to Summit Island together. And Mary, tell us what happens at Summit Island.
Why should I tell it? Chantel tells everything. Like literally for 5 minutes, it's
well,
just Chantel.
I'm not dogging on Chantel.
No,
it's not
I'm not.
her fault.
I'm not dogging on Chantel. I still think she's a really good player. I think she has really good strategy. She's really smart. I really like her as a person. I think overall she's great. I'm just saying that the whole, like, however long that segment was, 5 minutes, 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Everything's from Chantel's perspective. Everything is from her. Everything's from her confessional.
We almost
the
never
shots
heard from
on
Liana.
slow-mo are pretty much from her.
Yeah.
There was one Liana confessional in the whole time, and it was like 2 sentences. Everything else was about Chantel and about her mom and about her life and about
we finally get
game.
a Chantel flashback to like her life outside the game, and she was like one of the few people I feel like who didn't get one. I know some people still haven't, to my knowledge, but Chantel was like the last major character in my opinion. I'm like waiting for like, where's the flashback? You know,
there was so much slow-mo.
there was so much,
and there was.
They're like, we gotta pad this episode out. We don't have enough content.
Just slow-mo of them walking up the hill and everything.
Yeah.
And it was also like we hear about Chantel about why, you know, she's talking to Liana about why she wanted to protect her vote. Then she talks to her about like, hey, if I'm gone, you can't trust Ricard because Ricard's my number 1.
Yeah.
And so this is why I'm doing this. And Liana's just like, okay.
I don't think Chantel, in my personal opinion, she should not have told Liana that, because sure, it sounds good. Like you're telling her that is like, if Chantel had gone home, then yes, like, okay, you've thrown Ricard under the bus because that was your goal. But now she has thrown herself under the bus because going into the merge, if she doesn't know who Liana's close to, she just met the girl. So what if Liana tells the entire L tribe, hey, just like let you guys know, Chantel and Ricard are super close. Now, I guess you could say obviously, since they're the last 2 remaining of the green tribe, you could argue.
Yeah.
It's like how they kind of have to be. But at the same time, they could still, everyone does not know that they could actually be at odds. Like they could just work together as a matter of convenience. But like, oh, Ricard's my number 1, I'm super close to him, is like more information than Liana needed to know.
Yeah.
Liana did not say who her number 1 was.
No, that we heard, I guess.
That we heard, yeah.
But once again, I don't know, Chantel seems to have good instincts about people.
She's playing really hard.
And she is playing really hard. She really wanted Liana to trust her. She really wanted to just like solidify this friendship that they have started up immediately. I mean, it was a 3-hour walk, so I don't know. But yeah, I don't know. She's playing really hard. It could be a really good thing, or it could come back to bite her. We'll see.
Yeah, I don't know. It just, there's so much that happened this episode. I feel like in last episode where it's like, I see the flaws in Chantel's game and in her story now. And it's like, oh, it hurts. It hurts a little bit. So, but yeah. So I do want to point out that if you all watch that scene back, if you didn't notice it the first time, there's like no music.
Really?
Almost the whole scene, like almost the whole summit, there's no music. And I thought that was an interesting choice, maybe to let the moment play out in a normal fashion, I guess, instead of like the Heather slow-mo, Jeff telling us that if you don't believe in this, then you don't believe in Survivor.
There's lots of slow-mo still in this summit.
No, I'm sorry, but like the Heather moment, there's a lot of music and stuff too.
Yes.
And there's no music.
Just makes it more dramatic, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely a choice. I'm not sure if it worked, because to me, I noticed it and it kind of stood out in the negative way, but they're experimenting. So that happens, and what happens with so what is the choice they have to make, Mary?
Well, once again, they can protect their vote or they can risk their vote.
What? I've never seen that before. Can you tell me more about it? Who protects and who risks?
There's
and
a large wheel.
Yeah.
They both have to, or they can't. I'm not going to explain the whole thing.
No, I meant like who gets what and what. Yeah, that's
well,
what I meant.
Chantel protects her vote because there's only 3 of them, so she feels like she should do that, which was smart of her. And Liana risks her vote to get the advantage.
And what is the advantage?
Knowledge is power advantage.
And what is I kind of joked about it earlier, but what is the knowledge is power
So
advantage?
she has the ability to basically hand this paper to someone, say, I'm going to ask you a question, you're not allowed to lie.
Isn't it only about whether they have an idol or an advantage, though? She can't ask anything else.
Right. Yeah. Sorry. They can only ask, do you have an idol or do you have an advantage?
She can't hand it to Xander, for example, like, hey, do you have the hots for me? And he's like, and she's like, the paper says you have to tell the truth, Xander.
Yes.
Do you have the hots for me or not?
Sorry. Yeah. You can only ask about an idol or an advantage. And you can only ask one person. You can't ask multiple people. She
hands paper to Tiffany. She's like, Tiffany, are all your middle schoolers delinquents? And Tiffany's like, no. And she's like, I hand you the paper, Tiffany. She's like, yes. Yeah, I think it's just about advantage or an idol, not like anything.
Which, to me, she already knows about Xander because she went through his bag and she knows anyways.
No. It's not just getting to know. I think she gets to take it.
Oh, that's right. If they have one, you get to take it.
Yeah, it's kind of like go fish.
That's right. Oh, yeah.
It's kind of like go fish. It's not just finding out if they have it. It's like go fish. Like, oh, you have it and I guessed it. Now you have to give it to me. Like, what is that?
That sucks.
In what world is that okay? It's not. This is like
I know you have $100,000 in your bank account. I have this piece of paper.
This piece of paper says, I get your money advantage. Give it to me now. Like, Liana plays it at the finale. She's like, I just saw you win, person that's not me. Here's my piece of paper. Money advantage, please. Money, please. That'd be Liana. Yeah, this is...
Nah, it's a weird advantage.
I'm anti it. I'm very anti. There's been a lot of dumb advantages, but this one's like... This one's way overpowered, especially for what she had to do to get it.
Yeah, with nothing.
Yeah, she basically had to do nothing. Chantel just gave it to her. And even if... I don't know. I feel like this should have been the advantage where it's like everyone has to like agree that you get it or something. I don't know. I feel like this was way too easy to get. And it's way powerful for what it is.
Right.
Just give her an idol if that's what you want to do. Just don't make someone else lose it. Because you know what she's going to do? She's going to take it from Xander. She shouldn't. We should go to the merge and Leon should take it from Chantel or from... Don't
Naseer?
take it from Naseer. Don't take it from Naseer. But I'm saying that in her game, it's probably better to take it from one of those two.
Why?
From her... Xander's only... She only knows 3 other people and they're all in her tribe. She's going to steal from somebody she doesn't know.
She already doesn't like Xander. Xander doesn't like her, so...
But why make enemies with there's just the only people she knows besides Chantel now.
I guess so.
And they bonded over the fact that they're the same race. I think that might come up because it seemed like actually a pretty big deal for those two in the conversation, mainly for Chantel. So we'll see if that comes up at the merge.
Well, that's all we heard it from, so who knows?
We'll see at the merge because if they get close... that was what I was kind of wondering, because we go back to the Green Tribe and we see Ricard and Chantel basically get in a fight.
Yeah. Ironically.
Yes, and Chantel's in the same position that JD was in last week. Oh, how the tables turned. I was laughing so hard during that scene. But I guess what I'm trying to say is we see the cracks in her and Ricard's relationship. Mm-hmm. Is it possible Liana becomes her new number one?
I think so, and I think they could work well together, because I know we've seen Liana be frustrated with her current
group tribe,
her current alliance members,
yeah,
her current alliance members. Sorry.
I know where you're going.
And we know Chantel likes to play really hard, and I think Liana likes to play really hard too, and it's kind of being held back right now. So I could definitely see them working really well together. They have similar personalities, similar thought processes so far, and Chantel and Ricardo are gonna have to cut ties soon, I feel like, because they
don't have to, but the way they are both playing, Chantel is like, oh, why would I keep people who trust me when I could keep somebody who keeps extra votes from me?
Right.
Like, she cut who did she cut? She cut Brad, who was handing her all the information he could. Mm-hmm. She cut JD, who, sure, he's a little bit more of a wild card, I guess, quote unquote, but he's more reliable, in my opinion, than Ricard. And now Jeannie, who I feel like Jeannie had no one else anyway. Chantel could have made Jeannie. Like, Chantel could have, she could have had it all, and I feel like she keeps throwing it away. I don't know. I'm so conflicted. Because it could be the right move. But if it seems like the wrong one.
If she wins, obviously it will be.
I guess. Or if Ricard stabs her in the back, then it was the wrong move.
Right.
If Liana stabs her in the back, we'll see. I would rather have people around me like Jeannie, who I know are going to tell me stuff, or like Brad, who are going to tell me stuff. Sure, they're being a little crazy, but they trust me.
Right.
That's what matters.
Yep.
And Ricard over here is doing the right thing, by the way, for Ricard by not giving her back the extra vote, in my opinion. Yeah. She's like, so you're not giving it back to me? He's like, I'll give it back to you tomorrow. Which, by the way, Ricard should not give it back to her tomorrow. Because what if there was no merge and then Chantal has 2 votes? There's no tie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
True.
They cannot do. Remember Stephanie and Bobby John?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. If one of them had an extra vote, there would have been no fire making tiebreaker. So
interesting.
There is going to be a merge, and they should assume there's going to be one, but
right.
Yeah, they kind of got themselves in a pickle here.
You know what I thought was interesting, and I'm skipping ahead to tribal.
That's fine.
But Jeff says at tribal, unless the jury starts tonight. So is it possible that Jeannie is on the jury?
No. He would have said that.
Okay.
He would have said, yeah, he's just saying that. Because if the jury started tonight, he'd be like, and Jeannie, you're a first member of our jury. Or he, at minimum, I feel like would have told us. Okay, so they go to the next tribal, and Jeannie's just sitting on the jury, and everyone's like, "Oh, what a twist!"
Maybe I don't know.
Yeah, there have been dumb twists, I guess, but that would be like a nonsense.
I could see them doing that this season and being like, "Oh,
but
big
why?
Surprise! Why do anything else? I don't know.
Why do anything else?
Why do knowledge is power advantage? I don't know.
Why not just put everyone on the jury? Why not? Abraham and Sarah should be on the jury too. I know it's not like Edge of Extinction where they're still in the... No, just put them on the jury. Everyone's a jury member now.
Yeah.
Everyone gets a participation trophy, Jeff.
I still don't understand why Jeannie didn't use her shot in the dark.
Okay, so yeah, we go to tribal, and I think this is the important part. So what we see is Chantel admitting out loud that she's trying to get both of them to vote for the other person. Mm-hmm. And obviously, we know, and Jeannie really should know, that Chantel and Ricard are not voting for each other.
Right.
In what world and even if they do, fantastic. Jeannie should have played her shot in the dark, and then if Jeannie got nothing and they really did vote for each other, cool. They do a tiebreaker.
Right.
Jeannie ain't going nowhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. But she thought for some reason she was going to pull another JD situation. It didn't happen.
That's what I mean. For some reason, Chantel gets people to really trust her.
But then she stabs them in the back.
I know.
And it only works.
I guess eventually
it only works through this episode.
Right.
When the jury starts, that does not work anymore.
Right.
And even if you don't make final tribal, it just can hurt you trying to get there. People are like, I can't trust Chantel. I got to get rid of her. She is not trustworthy. True. So, I don't know. I didn't feel like I didn't have as much to talk about in this episode. I'm sure we talked about just as long as we normally do for the breakdown. But yeah, really what's most interesting to me is this fake merge. Or not, I wrote down fake merge, but then I thought about it. I was like, no, this has to be like the sand mound. If you look at it, looks like they're going to dig in that for buffs or for something. Or maybe you dig in it for the exile advantage. Who knows how they presented this season. But yeah. So let's move on to I'm sorry, do you have anything else for this breakdown?
No.
Okay. let's move on to the Rebus puzzle of this episode. Mary, take it away.
It's probably the easiest one so far. It was learning curve. The
What
word learning
Yeah.
in a curve. I mean, the word learning was like written out in a curve shape.
So with there not being much on this piece of parchment, I did notice the G that you talked about. And I think that's just probably like the symbol for GWG.
Yeah, we talked about that.
Oh.
It's game within a game. It's a small G inside a big G.
But with so much not on the parchment, it was so much easier to like notice it. So I was
Yeah.
like, is that part of the clue? Whereas in the past, there's been so much other things on the parchment. I didn't.
Well, and you only
notice
see
it.
it for like 5 seconds or however long it is.
It's 4 seconds every time.
Yeah, 4 seconds.
Yeah. So, it's a learning curve. And with that was when we got the video about Exile
Right.
Island. Right. Mm-hmm. Cool. Not much for the Rebus puzzle this week. It wasn't very complicated.
Nope.
You solved it like the moment it showed up on screen.
Yeah, normally I have to pull it up because, well, sometimes I just miss it or I catch the tail end of it because it's only 4 seconds. So if I like happen to glance away, I don't see it. But this time I didn't even have to look it up because I just like saw it and was like learning curve.
Yeah.
Because it was just obvious. It was an easy one.
I think it was the easiest one of the season for sure.
Yeah. Well, so far, for sure.
So far, well, yeah. I mean, I can't tell you what the episode 8 Rebus puzzle is, but through the first 5 for sure, yeah. Okay, let's move on to the winner analysis section, and as usual, let's start with you, Mary. Who is your number 1 to win?
It's still Chantel.
Still Chantel. Yeah. So even with all the cracks we've seen this week, you still think she's the best shot?
From what I've seen, because she's like one of the few we really see.
Yeah.
I agree with you about Evie because we do hear from her a lot. We see her a lot. Blue Tribe, I still have no idea who it could be on there. So to me, I just feel like Chantel's playing really well and that she's my number 1 right now.
Well, fair enough. I'm not saying you're wrong. I was, man, I mean, we got so much more from Chantel this episode 2 in terms of like her backstory and stuff. And I was like, oh, here we are, episode 5. We finally got it. But there was just so many other things so far. I'm like, I don't feel as great about her. As you heard last week where I dropped her to like number 5. Mm-hmm. So you have anyone else you're considering as a winner before I jump into my winner analysis part?
No, go for it.
Okay. So this week I have shortened my list from 6 to 5. I feel like as we get further in the season, it'd be unfair if I kept it at like 6.
Well, yeah.
Keep in mind. Yes, obviously. We get to like final 6. I'm like, well, I have 6 people on my winner list right now. No, I shortened it to 5. But to be fair, the top 3 are who I'm strongly considering. As a reminder, last week, I think my top 3 were not who my top 3 are this week. Let's put it that way. I don't remember. I know Erica was number 2. Erica's completely off the list. It was her last week. I felt like we had really set up for Erica. And then this week we got nothing for Erica. Nothing besides the fact that Deshaun wanted to get her and they didn't. And it's like, okay, we're just repeating it. We don't even hear from Erica.
Right.
It's like, it was nothing. I was like, if we get anything from Erica this week, I'm like, okay, maybe we are setting up an Erica win. But no, it was all circumstantial. So, all right. So my number 5, and keep in mind, only my number 3 are the ones I'm really seriously considering right now. My number 5 is a new person, Deshaun. Not that I think Deshaun is in a position to win, but I now have my eye on him because every single episode we have heard from Deshaun. Mm-hmm. He's kind of been the voice of Blue. It seemed like Sydney was it for a little bit, but now it's Deshaun. So, but to be fair, Deshaun keeps getting undercut, and that's why I don't have him as a serious contender. But I'm now keeping my eye out because as we go into the merge, if all of a sudden Deshaun starts pulling off stuff successfully, who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows? So keep my eye on Deshaun. My number 4 is Evie. For all the usual reasons, we hear from her every time we're on yellow. Though it did worry me a bit when Tiffany said that, Evie thinks Evie, I don't trust Evie. Like the moment you don't, that's just bad. Mm-hmm. Hearing somebody doesn't trust you. But yeah, Evie, personal content, strategic content, always hearing from her. So it's the usual with her, but I'm not seriously considering her as a winner right now. And I gotta be frank, my number 3, and this is where my top 3 are where I'm like, these are the ones I'm seriously considering. I might make them just my top 2 this week because my number 3 I'm not feeling too good about either. Okay. Though I think they're going far is Ricard. Like, yeah. But I mean, like we get Ricard content, and I'm almost like, now I'm sitting back and I'm wondering, is this all circumstantial because we just go to green all the time?
Yeah.
And I'm like, so how? I'm like, if green was winning all the challenges and let's say blue was losing them all, would we be getting Ricard content? And like, that's what I'm asking myself.
Right.
And so with that, it's like Evie, even when Yellow Tribe loses, we're still getting Evie content. Mm-hmm. I mean, sorry, even when the Yellow Tribe wins, so I mean, sorry. But with green, it's like, I feel like we probably wouldn't get that much Ricard if green was winning.
Yeah, probably not.
But we would definitely be getting Chantel, who's my number 2. So she moved up from number 5 to number 2.
Wow.
And it's not because I like anything more about Chantel than I did before. I just reevaluated my list and really thought, I mean, it's just so hard to like ignore Chantel. Mm-hmm. But I don't love it. I don't love it. I feel like it was like with the Edge of Extinction season where when Chris ended up winning, of course, and but Chris was on the Edge of Extinction, so nobody's really considering him because he was getting no content. We're all like, who the heck's winning this season? Like, we liked Rick Devens. I loved Rick Devens, but he didn't have like a winner story happening. He had like a really good story, which is how I feel about Chantel. It's like a Rick Devens kind of thing. It's like, I really like Chantel. She has a lot of stuff, but I don't know.
Didn't Chris Underwood take out Rick Devens though?
Chris Underwood did take out Rick Devens.
So
yes.
maybe whoever takes out Chantel will feel like, oh, they took out the top dog, so therefore they deserve it, kind of thing.
That's fair. Maybe Erica comes along and does that.
Who knows?
Based on what I said last week. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just really getting like Rick Devens vibes from Chantel now, where it's like you like her, she's doing a lot, but it's like, is she doing too much? And is this all just a setup for somebody's going to take her out? And that leads me to my number 1. Guess who my number 1 is?
Xander.
Tiffany.
Oh, Tiffany.
Tiffany has moved from not on the list to I'm keeping an eye on her because I don't think she's doing anything but going to the end of losing. I think Tiffany.
She's not going to win.
She's gotten it's so hard to ignore Tiffany now.
She's
Tiffany's
not good
like
at this game, though.
What?
She's not good at the game at all,
I
though.
didn't say that. I just said she's the Chantel of the Yellow Tribe. I don't know what she's going to do come merge. I do know that so far she has survived the pre-merge, and I know that she does need things explained to her multiple times. Okay, I get that. Okay, winners aren't perfect always. All right, there's only been 2 perfect winners.
No, of course not.
But still, she's my new number 1. There's no one else. I'm like,
you're crazy.
I can be crazy. That's fine. I'm just saying that. I don't know. Like, Chantel does not speak winner to me. Chantel speaks Rick Devens to me. Like, go far in the game and get eliminated.
That's fair.
But then who's the winner? That's what I'm saying. Like, Tiffany is my number 1, but who's the winner if it's not Tiffany or Chantel?
So many other people I would put above her. Evie, possibly somebody on the blue tribe. Could be Deshaun. I could see that.
I stay up late every night thinking about this.
Do you?
Till the wee hours of the night.
I'm sure.
3 a.m. I'm like, is it Evie? Is it Chantel? Is it Ricard? Is it Tiffany? Is it Deshaun?
It's not Tiffany.
Why has Erica worn the Disney princess dress, but not a Disney queen dress? Is that why she's not the winner? You know, things like that just run through my head.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Every night I'm up late thinking about this. No, for real, Tiffany's my new number 1. To be fair, though, a really bad week can drop somebody. So, but Tiffany's had such consistent content. She's like slowly earned her way, I feel like, to number 1. Whereas Erica shot up to number 2 and then dropped right back out in a matter of a week. So
anything can happen.
Anything can happen. That's true. If Tiffany gets voted out, unfortunately, I feel like that would move her out of my winner rankings.
Oh, you think so? Maybe.
That might move her out of my... I can't guarantee anything, but I think it might. Okay, so let me get winner questions pulled up here. We got quite a few from you this week. I figured some of these are stuff we've already talked about, so I've tried to save ones. I tried to save some stuff so we didn't talk about it. I mean, didn't talk about some things so that we had questions to answer. Okay. That's what I meant. Sorry, I'm going crazy. Okay. We did kind of answer this one, but we'll just kind of do a yes or no. Underdog Survivor asks, do you think the knowledge's power advantage is overpowered or balanced? So which one do you think?
Overpowered.
Yeah, overpowered. It's not even close. Balance would be like, if you ask and they say... If you ask and they say yes, cool. I mean, like they're forced to tell you, but it doesn't mean if they give it to you. That'd be like, right. That'd be balanced. But
because knowledge is power. Yeah, I mean, that is a good advantage.
Yeah, her getting it is
not fair.
Too much. I think I'm gonna say this right. Latte latte. I don't know. Did the Sean and Ricard argument ruin the alliance or create more trust? What do you think?
No, it didn't create more trust, I don't think. I think these are cracks.
Yeah, I think it's definitely the biggest crack in their alliance. And I mean, it was bound to happen after. I liked how Chantel was like, I did the legwork to get that idol. Yeah, Ricard did too. He got in close with you, and then you gave it to him. Same thing JD and you did. Like, Chantel is delusional to think that Ricard did not earn that avenge from her either. Okay, Skullwalker asks, do you think Liana will attempt to take Xander's idol, or do you think the twist will cause her and Xander to possibly work together?
Well, we don't know what the twist is. Are you talking about the twist?
The twist of her advantage.
Oh, I see. I think she's going to take it.
You know what? That's a good thing, though. Like, if she could, I feel like she'd be better off working with Xander. Be like, hey, Xander, like, I know you have the idol. Obviously, we all know this. And let's work together, and I'll steal someone else's, and we can have two idols. Like,
why would she need to work with Xander to do that, though?
It's kind of like getting in good with everyone who has idols.
Okay.
And I think Xander has an extra vote, too.
It just sounds like bribery to me. Like, I'm not going to use it on you if you help me get it from somebody else.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that Liana maybe is like, hey, we could have two idols and have your extra vote. And it's like, look, all this power you and I now have.
Sure.
Though she has literally said she's annoyed by Xander. So,
yeah, and Xander's already said he wants to get her out next. So.
But all you have to do is go to the merge and hate someone else more to work with somebody.
Yeah.
So it's easy in a group of 4 to hate one of your own. But when it's like family, you meet other people and you're like, you know what, my family's not so bad. I hate all these other people way more than my own family now. So
I think she's going to take it, but we'll see.
Yeah, we'll definitely see. Dog asked, Sean or Ricard, who's the better player?
Sean.
Yeah. I want to, you know what though? Ricard, I mean, it definitely was like a triangle thing with like JD, Chantel, and Ricard, and who ended up winning, in my opinion. I think it was Ricard. I mean, just because you're the bigger, louder player who gets more confessionals doesn't mean you're the better player.
That's true.
But, so you say Chantel. I'm saying, in this situation, I feel like between her and him, Ricard. But who would probably win at the end? Chantel. So, I don't know. You take that as you will. Let's see if I got any other questions. We kind of answered some of these. Some of them are asking like, what do you expect the merge to be? Which we talked about. Okay, so let's say there is no merge, Mary. Let's throw that out there because somebody asked, who goes if the blue tribe loses?
From what we've seen,
Yeah.
I would imagine it's going to be Erica. Or
Yeah,
it could
I wonder
also
about
be
that.
Sydney, though, because we do hear from Sydney a lot, but nothing really game-wise. We just hear from her.
I feel like the reason Sydney hasn't been seriously considered, though, I wonder why Heather hasn't been. I guess she's really good in socially. Not that we would ever have seen Heather and would know this, but I feel like the reason Sydney's never considered is because Sydney is a asset in challenges.
Yeah.
She helps them, and since they've been winning so often, that's such a valuable thing, especially to people like Dane and Deshaun who seem to really be good in challenges and value people are good in challenges.
Except they want to throw a challenge.
But they didn't want to get out Naseer, who's good at challenges, and they didn't want to get Sydney's good at challenges. They want to get Erica, probably their physically weakest person on the tribe besides Heather. So, but they had reasons for Erica. But yeah. So that's all the questions we had. I feel like this week was the most straightforward in terms of who was going home. So not as much to talk about. But yeah. Next week, possible merge. Definitely Exile Island, though, based on what Jeff said.
Very interesting.
100%. All right. Do you have anything else, Mary?
Nope.
All right. Well, we will see you all next week. Bye.
Bye.